Welcome back to Adams Field. It's halftime where Wisconsin lacrosse leads Wayne State 21-14. I'm Tony Ortiz, and I'm pleased to be joined by my friend, the athletic director here at Wayne State University, the one and only Rob Fournier. Rob, as always, it's good to talk to you, man.
Good to be back with you, Tony.
Well, let's catch up with, first things first, the field house. Second year of the field house in operation. So I got to ask, what did you learn about the first year of the field house that you liked, and maybe something about the field house that you'd like to change in the year two?
I'd like to see more people dressed as fans. If we replicate the Michigan game every week, that'd be good. No, it's kind of a learning process. We've never had an arena in 104 years here, so I think that was exciting. Certainly exciting for the basketball teams. I thought it was a great experience for the fans. We're able to do a lot of stuff that we've not been able to do. I mean, it's hard to believe, but there's no air conditioning in the MAFI, and hopefully that might affect Wisconsin lacrosse because they just went into a very hot MAFI building. I think the partnership with the Crews was great with the Pistons. We like to joke that 1 + 1 = 3. I don't know if that's part of the new math, but I think the collaboration was great for us, and it's helped the university as well.
You mentioned the collaboration with the Pistons. That brought a lot of attention to the field house, which I think was a good thing as well for you guys.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of things behind the scenes with them that have helped us out a lot too. Student internships, the opportunity for students to come over to the games at discounted prices. The Pistons are taking some of their players when they're rehabilitating. They're starting in the Crews lineup. So if you want to see NBA basketball for a reduced price, there's an opportunity to do that. Our teams have been actually practicing over in their facility.
Nice.
Both our men and women. So that's been a great opportunity for us. I think it's great for the student athletes. The Pistons will bring their players into our locker room.
Nice.
And the kids get excited about seeing that. So that's all been good for us.
The field house is going to have a new resident this year, and Brian Smothers, he takes over as your head basketball coach. I got to ask, what was it about him that impressed you that made you say, this is the guy I want to lead the men's basketball program here?
I don't think Brian's listening to this interview. He might be the only person. But I actually knew Brian was going to be the coach years ago.
Okay.
I mean, he had everything that I was looking for. And then the fact that he spent some time at Michigan with Beeline, which is a great coach, great tactical coach.
Right.
I mean, he was sitting in the room all the time with Beeline when he's breaking down plays and stuff. And it's funny, Beeline called me during the process. Of course, everybody calls you. I mean, I got calls from. It happens every time you're doing a new coach. And so Beeline, I told Brian, he goes, I can have people call. And I was like, no, you don't have to have anybody call.
Right.
He didn't know he was going to be the guy yet. So anyway, finally, Jim Beeline calls me, and it was just a funny exchange. If you know my personality and his personality,
yes.
He called Brian back, and he goes, I think I just screwed up the job for you. But I think, the staff that Brian's put together, very excited about that. New energy. David Greer did a great job. But I think, it's always good to change that a little bit. Brian has a lot of what David has, but he has a lot of new ideas and stuff. So we're going to see a new look from basketball this year.
It's funny, when I interviewed him after he got the job, you could hear the excitement in his voice, but he was also still working with Niagara because they were about to play in their conference tournament. So he had that excitement for Wayne State, but you also could see that he had that focus on what he was doing with Niagara at that time.
Yeah. I think the people that he's been under, Coach Poulos, who played at Duke, and again, Jim Beeline, I mean, he's been around a lot of great coaches. And, that shows in his approach, not just on the court, but tactically, his philosophy on recruiting and stuff.
Wayne State athletics was in the news this week because Hunter Brown, of course, pitched for the Houston Astros on Tuesday. And it just seemed like there was a lot of focus on the baseball program and on what was going on here on Wayne State. What was that like for you? How proud and pleased were you personally to see Wayne State in the spotlight this week?
Well, the funny thing is I got an email from one of the people in upper administration at Tigers and said, thanks for increasing our concession sales when Hunter pitched. Because I think there's about 1,000 Wayne State people out there between our student athletes and Hunter. But, that night, interestingly, 17 pitchers won Major League games that night. 2 of them were Wayne State pitchers, Anthony Bass and Hunter Brown. So it just reflects so well on Coach Kelly and what he's done with the baseball program.
And look, they might end up meeting in the playoffs. You could have Toronto taking on Houston in the playoffs. Bass versus Brown. You never know.
Yeah, we could probably we'll probably get some people listening here if that's the case.
Listen, I know you're proud of what's going on the field, but you've got to be proud of what's going on with your athletes off the field as well. A cumulative grade point average of 3.39. I mean, that was one of the tenets that you wanted when you came here, was to get the athletics and the student athletes. You wanted it all together, and you wanted to put the emphasis back on the student and student athlete.
Well, I think the key to success in athletics is, you have to have students that graduate and are in your program.
Mm-hmm.
If your coaches are really good, they're going to learn and get better every year. If they're going in and out every year, that's not the way to create a successful program. Our graduation rate is 78%. Last year, our student athletes in the Helper NCAA program, where they measure community service, we were 13th in the country.
Nice.
Our men's tennis team was the #1 men's team in the country. Our women's basketball team was number 5 in the country. So in the past 13 years, we've done over 115,000 community service hours. And that, I think, really helps student athletes appreciate a little bit what they have. And it also helps them understand our role in the community. We're part of Detroit. Everybody, you see them wearing the T-shirts. This is our Detroit. We're proud of the fact that we're in Detroit, and the community service part, and the academic piece. Those are the 3 pillars, and hopefully, some competitive success.
Rob Fournier, always a pleasure to talk to you. The athletic director at Wayne State University, Rob Fournier.
Tony, before we
us.
go,
yes,
I got to do something, because every time I'll run by the box, and I'll see Joe and Rod up there.
Yeah.
And they're telling me how hard it is. And they got a big steak sandwich and a cold drink. And I says, what about Tony's down the field, And they're like, Tony's got it easy. So, but just to show the appreciation, we got you, excuse me, a little gift.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right, on the air gift. We didn't get one for Joe or Rod because, they got a steak sandwich. So that was from our media day this year that we hosted.
Nice.
And signed by the captains and Coach Winters. We appreciate anybody who can talk to Coach Winters when he's losing at halftime deserves a special kind of a recognition.
Rob Fournier, thank you. I'm going to put this in the house. It's going to go right next to my game ball.
Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
All
Rob
right.
Fournier, the athletic director at Wayne State University. Rod and Joe will take over in the second half. I'm just going to show this to them and, not make a big deal about it. Wayne State football continues. Wisconsin lacrosse leads 21-14 at half. We'll be right back.